Welcome to this week's Who the Folk podcast. I'm Lonnie Goldsmith, the editor of TC Jewfolk. This week I talk with Cantor Wendi Fried, the new B'nai Mitzvah and ritual coordinator at Beth Synagogue. We talk about the choice to primarily work off of the pulpit, succeeding the great Mary Baumgarten, and following through on her 8th grade dreams of becoming a cantor on this week's Who the Folk podcast. But before we get to Cantor Fried, picture this: Israel 2022. A crowded bus breaks down on the side of a desert highway. Who's sitting next to you, and what secret will they reveal? The newest podcast from Unpacked, Homeland, 10 Stories, 1 Israel, will keep you on the edge of your seat as each passenger's story unfolds. Meet the Russian immigrant who escaped the Soviet Union and the Jerusalem native whose family traces back more than 400 years. Each week, you'll meet a new character whose story will take you for a ride. So get on the bus, grab a window seat, and settle in for Homeland, 10 Stories, 1 Israel, wherever you get your podcasts. Cantor Wendi Fried, welcome to the Who the Folk podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. This is wonderful.
I'm so glad to talk to you. You are the new cantor at Beth Synagogue, and while cantor is your title, certainly well-earned through years and years of schooling, your primary responsibility is going to be as the B'nai Mitzvah program coordinator at the synagogue.
Yes, and.
Yes, and.
Yes,
okay.
And.
So let's do the yes, and first.
So I've been in the cantorate for 18 years now, and 17 of those years I was on the pulpit and doing fairly typical cantorial work, davening and life cycle events, teaching B'nai Mitzvah, and being with people who were sick and who were in need, and counseling, and all of those things that we typically do. So this Jewish education piece and running the Tarbut program is a little bit different than what I've done. And I'm super excited, and I'm also a little bit trepidatious, I'll be honest, because I have humongous shoes to fill. And Mary Baumgarten was just and is an amazing educator. We are so blessed to have her still in the community. I am blessed to have her as a teacher and a mentor and a guide to taking over the program and trying to make her proud. The master teachers that I'm working with have been teaching the program forever, and they really know what they're doing. So I'm thankful for them. And not only do I have this Tarbut piece, but I also have a ritual director piece, and at the bottom of the contract where it says, and whatever else we'd like you to do as clergy, that's on there too. So there's a lot to my job, but I'm ecstatic to be here, and Minneapolis is fabulous, and really looking forward to getting the school year started and to seeing all the students thrive and grow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So
yeah.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, yes.
Which is as sort of the clergy way.
That does seem to be traditional.
Yes. Before we get too far into it, just a quick word about Mary. Absolutely phenomenal.
Incredible.
She is. I didn't think we'd see the day when she stepped back from something. She's unbelievable, though.
Yeah. Incredible teacher. And I had a chance when I was here in March to observe her a little bit, and how she is with not just the program at Bethel, but also at Talmud Torah. And she's just an incredible educator. And I think that the way that the program has run and survived has been because of her.
Yeah.
Really.
Very much a testament to the work, all the work she's put in.
Absolutely.
There's no question
Absolutely.
about that.
And she's still here. So
right.
I'm actually meeting with her this week.
Oh, excellent.
And she said she would always be a resource for me. So I'm very, very thankful. And I've never seen a program like this. I am just beyond impressed and excited by it.
I don't think I'd understand a world where you came in to take this role and Mary just said, okay, bye. Good luck.
Yeah, I can't imagine it either. Mostly just because for someone who put really life's work into it, I would think that you would want to make sure it's done correctly.
Oh, absolutely.
And done in a way that's
it honors the time
Yes.
that she put into building it to where it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And the kids are so deserving.
Yeah.
So deserving. The kids and the teens and the everybody involved, the master teachers. I mean, it's just a program that is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
So you moved here a couple of months ago from Virginia.
A month ago.
Oh,
yeah.
a month ago. Okay.
Okay, maybe it's a month and a half now. Yeah.
Right. It's only mid-August. I keep thinking it's closer to the end of it. Okay, so
July 1st I started.
Okay, so July 1st you started. What's been the settling in process? How has that been for you and your husband, your 3 kids? What's that been like?
Well, I came by myself for the first couple weeks, 3 weeks. And the first week was absolutely incredible. I felt so welcomed and really like they had just been waiting for me. It was amazing. It felt like coming home. Really? Yeah, in so many ways. And I don't say that lightly. Yeah. I feel like, there's so much about my job that I'm still learning, but the community itself was so warm and so, you always include welcoming in that, but, that's what everybody wants to be, right? Yeah, we're a warm and welcoming community, and
it's always those 2 words. You're never just welcoming. You got to be warm and welcoming.
Yes. But, from everything from the ladies who greet you when you come in the morning, who are, Barb and Marlene are generally the ones that are there, and from them to, on the weekends, to Pam during the week, and the way that you truly feel like they are just waiting for you to come. They just want you to be there, and they can't imagine the morning without you, or the day. And I think that that's really very special. Very special. So everything from them to, I'll show you a picture. My door was decorated.
Oh, that's so
nice. And I kept it on there because I love it. All the preschool had a hand, literally a hand in it.
That's so fun.
And so beautiful. And I had little gifts on my desk from the welcoming committee and a whole schedule set up and, goals for the year. And it was just, they just know how to do it right. They really, really do. And so it's from then. And then the next week I got COVID. So, welcome
timing.
to Minneapolis. Yeah, never had it before. So perfect timing, like you said. So I did a lot of work from home and a lot of sleeping. And then paid for it the next week.
Oh, yeah.
When my whole family finally got there and... Yeah.
Well, it's good at least that if you're going to get COVID, you did it before the rest of your family joined you.
Absolutely. I mean, there could have... Yeah, I'm not sure if there could have been better timing on that. Yeah. And then we didn't have any of our things from the moving company. So that came after my whole family was coming up. And my whole family, I mean, my sons and my husband and my mother-in-law and the Israelis. That's what we call them, the Israelis.
Which is your husband's...
Which is my husband's family. And they all came to stay. So we had 10 people in the house and 10 million blow-up mattresses. It was an adventure. We'll put it like that.
So,
a lot of fun.
That's good. That's really good.
It's a good thing we love each other. That's all I have to say.
You would think so. To have people stay at your house as guests before you have furniture is awfully generous of you. Yeah.
Well, they helped us bring the car up. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like a reasonable trade then.
For sure. Yeah.
The interesting thing about the position that you've taken, in addition that it's sort of never existed in its current form,
right,
is that you're coming in and families for probably the next 2, if not 3 years already know what their B'nai Mitzvah date is.
Yes.
And you're, obviously the ones that are coming up sooner have already been working with other people. How do you sort of integrate yourself into the people who are like closer to having their B'nai Mitzvah and working with them and the families so it doesn't disrupt what they've done so far?
It has been set up so well that I don't think there could be a disruption per se, but I have been calling B'nai Mitzvah families and introducing myself and getting to know them, at least over the phone,
Sure.
so that they have somewhat of an idea of who I am and a brief introduction, and just so, there's the. Yeah, I think it's important to have a smooth transition, and if you can create the connection is the important part.
Right.
And after that, I think the rest of it comes. Yeah.
I think I had asked you about this when I talked to you. Or we had ran an article, and link will be in the show notes, sort of introducing you and Matthew, who's the new rabbinic intern, who has, I believe, just started or will be starting soon.
This week.
Starts this week.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I believe I had asked you about this, but one of the interesting things about sort of the position you're coming to is that it's not strictly a BEMA position. It's you'll do a little bit of that, but obviously not as much as you would have maybe done at your last job or at previous stops. Is that something you were looking for sort of at this stage of your career as a cantor, to maybe dabble in some other things?
Yeah, so I had been on the BEMA for 17 years. And 10 of them were in Maryland. That was my first pulpit. And then my second was in Virginia and in Norfolk specifically. Okay. And I love the BEMA.
Okay.
I love being up on the BEMA. I love davening. I love creating meaningful prayer moments for my congregants, for myself. I think what I needed was a little bit of time to do things that I'd always wanted to do and couldn't do necessarily because I was always on the BEMA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to do more education. I wanted to do more of the family services. I wanted to, while my kids are young, I wanted to be able to be part of their journey and not always be on the BEMA, and which really separated me from them and from the families. The one thing I think I'll probably miss from that experience is being up there for B'nai Mitzvah.
Yeah.
That's my absolute favorite thing. I love to walk them through the whole journey from the beginning all the way to the end,
right.
Have them up there, be there for their big moments,
right.
And know that we did that together. So I think really that's probably the piece that I'll miss the most. But to be involved in all of the other pieces that bring them along the way to their moments on the BEMA and then beyond.
Right.
That's what I wanted to be part of. And we didn't have a huge beyond in my last congregation. It's kind of B'nai Mitzvah. And then there were a couple of things that they could do, BYO, things like that.
Right.
But we struggled with the after part, like most people do.
I would say most congregations really have that problem.
They really do.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that was most attractive to me about Bethel here, was that I'm not going to say they have it all figured out, but they have a strong, really, really super strong foundation for bringing people past the B'nai Mitzvah moment and having them understand that really is not just a viable option, but it's an option that is meaningful and should lead to lifelong education.
Yeah.
Always, always, and forever. That we should always be growing. And that's really inspiring to me. On top of the youth group,
right.
And all of that fabulous stuff. And I haven't necessarily chosen my jobs for my children or for my spouse before, but the huge attraction here was I want my kids to have a Bethel experience. And I want them to go through it. I want them to become Rimonim, and to be then teachers and then be master teachers. I want them to go all the way.
Right.
And I think they can. I think they will. And I think they'll love it.
Yeah.
And that's the real thing, right? So I have a 13-year-old who's going to have his bar mitzvah next year. And he 100% fell in love with Heilecher, and it was amazing. He came in, and they couldn't pull him out of the class from the tour, and so he was stuck. He was there, and so that's where he's going. And so going from there, I wanted him to love everything about the shul and that experience just as much. Okay. And so I feel that if I can sell it to my own kids, who are sometimes the harder audience,
I can see that, absolutely.
Then I could probably do it for anyone, I think.
I mean, and the fact that he came and so sold on not just Bethel, but Heilecher also, I think it speaks volumes somewhat, I mean, about the school and the program, yes, but also about what he's like as a kid. Because obviously, 8th grade, the end of middle school, right before high school, that's a really challenging time to move. That's a tough, yes. I've got a 13-year-old myself. It is a really tough age.
Yeah.
And to move halfway across the country at that age and starting and all the new things.
Leave all your friends
and all of the new
the
stuff.
The camps,
Right.
Yeah.
It's a very different sort of challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. And he has helped with the younger boys to see, he made a move before at their age. And so for him to be able to have survived, made it through, made friends, right. Loved the school experience and all of that. He's been really great with them and selling and pitching the whole thing.
That's true. So this is the twins, the younger two, their first move. So yeah. I think the older one, we talked a little bit about this before, but the older one having a positive experience really will help drive the feelings of the younger siblings more so than anything you or your husband can tell them.
Yeah, right. And his pitch was, this is an adventure, it's fun, you've never done it before, let's do it together,
Right.
Which is amazing.
That's phenomenal. Awesome. That's a phenomenally mature attitude to take.
Yeah.
And it's not, like your previous move from Maryland to Virginia, right. Not that far of a move.
Not that far of a move. Actually, we went up like 5 times back and forth to get things. Oh. You can't do that in this move.
Little tougher. Got to get it tougher. All or nothing.
That's right.
Kind of situation.
If you left it there, too bad.
It stays there, yes.
Gone.
Maybe somebody will be nice enough to ship it, but most likely it's probably gone.
Yeah.
One of the things, again, we talked about this briefly before we started recording. One of the things I've always found interesting about new clergy coming to a new city, a new congregation, is the timing with which it happens. You start at July 1st. The high holidays are a little bit later this year than last year.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. But nonetheless, you're moving, you're trying to get, yourself and the family and learn the ins and outs of a new job and a new congregation. And also start preparation for high holiday services, which is the time of year where you have the largest attendance at shul, and you're trying to figure out everything all at once. How challenging is that for you?
Well, let's just start with the fact that I've never done anything that I'm doing right now, ever. So
just pile on the challenges.
Just pile it all on. Why not? Just do it all. Actually, it's probably the thing that I'm least worried about.
Really?
To be honest.
Okay.
I love doing family services, and I've just been waiting for the moment that I can do them. So to be able to have those moments now, and the opportunity is freeing to me.
That's great.
And that I get to do it with someone who's also just coming in. We're both kind of learning the ropes. But I think we're both creative. Matt and I have very similar feelings, it seems. We answered basically the question that they asked us, an intro High Holidays piece was, what's your favorite food? And both of us were, for High Holidays, and we both said apples and honey. Yeah. And brisket, of course. So just from that, And we both love Hineni. We both love Shechianu moments. So there's a lot that we, I think, can bring together that we feel similarly about. But, we've had completely different experiences as well and backgrounds. And so we come with a wealth of knowledge and like I said, experience. So I think it's going to be amazing to not only work with him, but to have the opportunity to do something that I've always wanted to do. Barring that, I would say that High Holidays is a magical time.
Yeah. And
when you are number one and you're preparing a choir and you're preparing, with all the davening and you're finding all the leaders and you're finding all the everything and you're inundated with all the planning for it, I feel like it loses that magic. And it can only be about the stress of bringing this moment to everybody else, but not necessarily to yourself. Right, or your own family.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm looking forward to this year, is being able to get back some of the magical feeling of, not only times past, but a really exciting future at Bethel.
And I think it seems like you get to be more in the moment.
Yeah.
Than you have been, because you're not... It's not all sort of riding on you.
Exactly, yeah.
It's got to be kind of nice that there's a little bit of freedom in that regard.
Well, I think what's really freeing is the team.
Yeah.
And I've waited to be working with a team like this for probably my whole life. I think it's dynamic and creative and exciting. We all bring a huge amount to the table, and we all truly enjoy working as a team. So I never actually imagined myself in a congregation this big.
Really?
Because I'm very much of a connections person. I want to know everyone. I want to know their background and their history and their families, and not just where they sit in shul, but the whole deal. And you do that by creating relationships. And I always was a little trepidatious to be involved in such a huge community and not have that connection, not feel tied to people because there's so many people. It's kind of a daunting thing,
right?
But at the same time, working at smaller places means that more is on your plate. And I've always been a collaborator. I work better that way. Yeah. And so to have this ability now to work with a huge team, we all have each other's backs, and I can come up with a program and not necessarily have to be the one to do it.
Yeah.
I can pass it on to someone and who's going to do it probably better than I could have, right. But I love that idea, that we're all in it together to create this experience.
Had you always wanted to be a cantor?
Always.
Really?
Since the end of my 8th grade year.
Okay.
Yeah, I went into my cantor, and I were very close. And his name is David Propus, and amazing, amazing man, great educator and teacher and musician, and he's a macher in the conservative movement. Okay. But I knew him as Cantor Propus, and I, after my Bar Mitzvah, tutored B'nai Mitzvah under him for a year. And then before this conversation, we lived in shul. I don't know if you did this, but when I was growing up, we basically lived in shul. Okay. Because we had to do everything from Shacharit all the way through Musaf, including Friday night, and Torah reading, and Haftorah, and everything. And so part of the program was that you were going to come every Shabbat. every Shabbat you came and you sat, and we sat with our friends, you know, and caused trouble and tried to see how many times we could get the rabbi to look at us. And you know, that's fun.
Right.
And I was in youth choir and the USY and everything possible that I could do Jewishly. So I, end of my 8th grade year, beginning of my 9th grade year, I went into my cantor's office. And I was in tears. And he asked me what was wrong. And I said, I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life. And he kind of sighed, just like you did. He was trying not to laugh.
I sighed because I had heard similar comments from the under 18 group that lives in my house with me.
Oh,
so
got it.
I get that.
Got it.
Hits a little close to home. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, he was on one hand, you know, sighing, on the other hand, trying not to laugh. And he was like, you know, I think you have a little time to figure that out. And I was like, no, I have to know now. I don't know. I don't know the direction. I got it. You know, I have to have a direction. So he said, well, what do you love to do? And I said, well, I love everything about Judaism. I love being in the shul. I love being with my friends. I love singing. I love teaching. I love being with my friends. Did I say that? Yes. I love being with my friends. And my Jewish friends specifically. And I love youth group. And this is my home. This is where I want to be. And he said, well, it sounds to me like you want to be a cantor. I was like, yeah, that was my turn to laugh. I was like, yeah, no, that's you. I can't do that. And he said, well, you know, go home. Talk to your friends, because you have to get their buy-in first, obviously. Of course. Duh. And then talk to your parents and see what they think about it. And then do some soul searching. Come back to me when you're ready, and we'll talk. And so I went home to my friends, and I would have been texting, but they didn't have texting at the time. So I was calling everybody on the phone going, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Yeah, of course. And then my parents were thrilled. A cantor in the family. It was almost as good as a doctor. So that was that. I went back and I said, I think I want to be a cantor. I was like, good, let's get started.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So where did you grow up?
Houston, Texas.
Okay.
I was an Army brat for the first 10 years of my life. Okay. And then after that, my dad wanted to grow a beard and specialize. He was a doctor in the Army.
Okay.
So we moved to Houston. Yeah.
Wow.
And that was it.
That was unbelievable. So being in the Midwest, I mean, at least being in the Central Time Zone, that's not new.
No, I was born in Denver.
Okay.
Then I went to Germany, then St. Louis, then back to Denver, and then Houston.
Houston, okay.
So I would say a huge chunk of my life was...
First time professionally.
Texas, let's not...
I wasn't going to call Texas the Midwest.
Okay, I was going to say that, that's Texas, and it's not even South.
No, I started to, and I caught myself, because obviously it's a very different ballgame. So I guess, how has it been settling in here now that the whole family's here, the moving truck has been
come and
gone.
Thank goodness.
How's the settling in process felt to you and the family so far?
It's really hard to say because they don't know a lot of people yet. And we had the Israelis with us for a while, so they were, exploring the area a bit. And my mother-in-law stayed until last week, and she was taking them to a different park every day. And so that was really amazing. We've done so much since we got here.
That's good.
And experienced so much, and everything from the Van Gogh immersive experience to French Park and going in the lake, and we've just been a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty incredible.
Well, that's good that you have the time to sort of be a bit of a tourist and sort of see the area and learn all the things. Obviously, you still have a job to do, and you're still
have a job.
So you can't
100%.
be full-time tourist, but at least at least.
I mean, some of these things I'm mentioning are things that they
got to do. No, but
they got to do.
Some, they get to do some exploring too. And
they
get to sort of
they do, and
experience all sort of the local things.
Yes, and the bike riding has been amazing, and the friends that they have met have been so supportive, and Mama Liz is incredible, and I want to thank you for turning me on to them.
Oh, you are welcome.
They are fabulous, and I've really, really enjoyed getting to know some of the moms through there, and they're a treasure trove of information. It's really incredible.
They are something.
I've never seen anything like it.
It's being a male, I don't see what goes on there. I hear the stories from people, and it is they're interesting ones. Some of the shenanigans that take place.
Well, I'll mention one thing that I saw this morning, and you can decide to include it or not. But somebody was asking about drag brunch.
Excellent.
And whether people had recommendations for that, because they hadn't seen it for a while, and I was like, okay, cool. That's awesome.
That's pretty fantastic.
Let's do this.
Yeah, no, it's pretty outstanding.
It is. It's like everything from that to, who has mattress recommendations, or doctors, or, we want to get out of town. Where should we go? Dinner is, old and I don't want to make it anymore,
Every once in a while.
It's incredible.
Every once in a while there'll be I've heard that there are the pictures of, my kid has this rash. Anybody know what it is? My response to that, whenever somebody tells me that, is call your pediatrician.
That's right.
But hey, you know what? If you want to short circuit that, that's okay.
I'm certain that there's a mama on there who knows what she's talking about.
Oh, there 100% is.
Yeah,
but
at least one.
It's funny
my
to
son
hear
had that yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Last
but
week.
it is. Look, I am glad that has been a help to you. And
huge. It's been huge.
That's great.
So many resources.
Yeah.
So my biggest one was I've never experienced needing to order a trash company to come pick up my trash. It's always just been part of the neighborhood I've been in, and city's taken care of it. Yep. And so I had no idea where to turn, which one was best. We live in Plymouth. So I just put it out on Mama's, and I got 5 billion responses.
Yep.
I have this. We go there. I do this. And the thing is compiling the information so that you see kind of which ones make the most sense to you personally, and
Yes.
what works best.
No, it's pretty fun that way.
Amazing.
It's very helpful.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. I am glad I'm glad you're able to take advantage of the Jewfolk
I truly love it.
Minnesota Mama Liz. That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
I am thankful.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you haven't gotten to do yet as a Minnesotan that you would like to do before things get, particularly nutty over this next few-week period?
Well, I've been told that we have to go to the state fair.
Yeah.
So that's a must.
Okay.
Although I grew up with the rodeo. So,
No.
tough shoes.
A little different, though.
A little different.
A little different.
Yeah. So that, and I'm also really looking forward to the Renfest.
Really?
Yes, I love Renfest.
Okay.
And we didn't have it in Virginia where I was,
Okay.
so it's been a long time since I've gone. And what else? I would like to kayak here a little bit.
Sure.
I haven't done that yet. But I've heard so many good things about it. And when we had tried, the company that was closest to us was no longer working for the summer. And then
Okay.
there was another one where they said the water was too low, and so you couldn't be on the water with them. So we're still looking for the perfect. If anybody has one,
All right.
let me know. But I would really love to do that. And I don't know. I mean, we've gotten so many great recommendations. I'd like to go to Crystal Caverns. I've heard good things about that.
Okay.
And do you have any recommendations?
No, I don't think. I mean, you said the State Fair. That's the obvious.
State Fair is obvious.
That's the obvious
Done,
one.
right?
For people watching, for food,
Yes.
if, you know.
I'm just, it's the fried everything.
Fried everything on a stick.
Oreos, cheesecake. Just give me any of that.
Yes. Good old-fashioned fried cheese on a stick
Yep.
is fantastic.
Although I don't get the cheese curds. Can you explain cheese curds to me?
Okay.
I don't understand why they're so popular.
They're just so good.
They're
don't
so
know
good.
why. You got to go to Mouthtrap is there's lots of places that have cheese curds,
Mm-hmm.
and people will listen to this and think I'm a fool for my choice of where to go. Mouthtrap in the food building
Mouthtrap.
is hands down.
What's the food building?
Oh, the food building is just inside the gate off of Snelling Avenue, in sort of the east portion, sort of east central portion of the fairgrounds. It is. I think the Sarah's Tipsy Pies are in there, which are hand pies that are made with some sort of alcohol in them. Yeah. Just a whiskey pecan pie, which is delicious.
We call it TDF.
Sorry?
TDF.
TGF?
TDF.
TDF.
To die for.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. There's just all kinds of food vendors that have sort of always been in the food building.
Mm-hmm.
Mouthtrap is one of them. Easily the best cheese curds.
So if I'm going to try it, I should try it from
You
there.
got to try it from there.
Okay.
The mistake we always make for the four of us, and of our family of four, one of us has a slight dairy allergy and at least needs to go easy on it, and two of us are very lactose intolerant. We decide that we need the bucket of curds.
Buckets are always better.
They're not, though, because after a while, it's like, oh my God, why are there so many cheese curds left? I want to die. So, the
That's when you share.
Oh no, and we do share. Like if more of
Who
us
wants
go,
cheese curds?
right? If more of us go, if our group is a little bit larger than the household, then we, even then we probably should just get a small basket and
Be done.
but be done.
Yes.
But every once in a while, like one time I walked out with a bucket. My wife's like, "Why?" Like, I can't help it.
Don't know.
I can't help it.
I
There's
don't
like
know.
five
It
of
was
us
calling
eating.
to me.
There's five of us eating. She's like, we still don't need it. And we get halfway through it, and my brother's like, yeah, we didn't need this. Of course we didn't need it. But here we are.
There we are.
Yeah, I can't remember the new foods this year. There were a couple that seemed really, really interesting to me. A couple years ago, there was one called the Cloud Roll, which was
What's that?
It was cotton candy rolled up, and inside the roll-up was Superman ice cream and Fruity Pebbles.
What?
Yeah.
First of all, how can you roll cotton candy? And second, like,
it was
it like
was
the
like
packed?
a denser.
Like
It was like, yeah, it was
okay.
very dense packed, and they pile it in, and you throw it in, then you roll it up,
What?
give you a spoon, and like I could actually like feel my teeth starting to fall out from all that sugar.
That's like a sugar coma. That's not shock. That's coma
no, it's beyond
inducing.
shock. It's definitely a level beyond that.
Wow.
I enjoyed it for the first couple of bites.
Oh
I
my
think we
God.
all did, and then we're like, this would be bad to keep eating.
Yeah.
And so that was in the grandstand. They have some
Goodness
food. They have
gracious.
vendors. They have some food vendors. They have some shopping vendors. Like, if it's super hot, it's not going to cool you off any,
Right.
because
No, for sure.
it's still indoors and it's very, it's indoors. There's not great airflow, but at least gets you out of the sun for a little bit, or out of the rain for a little bit. Got to go to the dairy building, and hopefully you go at a time where they're carving the butterheads.
Cool.
The Princess K of the Milky Way.
Oh my gosh.
Each of the princesses get their head carved out of a 90-pound block of butter.
Preserved forever.
It is hilarious. They do get to take the butterheads home with them at the end of the fair.
Who would not want that?
Obviously, it's absolutely amazing.
I don't think you can freeze that though, can you? Can you freeze it?
You think you can? You just need a really big freezer. Like a big chest freezer, but like nothing else can go in there unless you squash the head.
Oh man!
Really, the people watching there,
it
is fantastic. Yes, all the fried food. Yes, the everything on a stick. But like you walk around a bunch, you see people in a whole different way, for better or worse. And we're going to leave it at that. I don't want to scare you away from the experience. That I've spent all this time talking it up.
You cannot. We will be there.
Good.
Absolutely, with bells on for sure.
Well, Cantor Wendi Fried.
Cowbells.
Yes.
Specifically.
Yes, that was very good. Keeping with the
I didn't even tell
theme.
you about working in the Refet.
I'm sorry. Okay, we can't end yet. I got to hear this story. Working in where?
In the Refet. So when I was on Nativ.
Okay.
Which is the United, it's USY's gap year, basically.
Okay.
Nativ 15. So now they're on like 40, whatever. Ridiculous number. But anyway, so half the year, for 3 months, you lived on a kibbutz.
Okay.
And on that kibbutz, you could do any number of jobs.
Okay.
And I was one of the yes people. So every time they would say, all right, who wants to do this? I would raise my hand. Who wants to do this? I would raise my hand. And it was me and one other person. We were like, yeah, who knows? We don't know what it is, but we'll do it.
You probably could have asked what the job was, some details before you volunteered.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. It was one of those things. Why not? Work in the kitchen? Sure. Work with the kids? Yes. Work in the Refet? Don't have a clue. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So the Refet was where they kept the cows, and they then milked them on a regular basis 3 times a day. And so we were in charge of 1 or 2 of those milkings, depending. Mm-hmm. And what would happen is every morning we would get there. I don't know if this is for publication, but every morning we would get there, and we would put on our hugely long boots.
Yep.
And tie up our hair. And I had another guy that I was working with. And the very first job that we did every morning was to watch whether the female cows would jump on each other and to see if they were in heat or not.
Ah.
Yes, very interesting. So that was the first job of the day. Then the second, we would get a list of numbers, because all the cows were numbered.
Sure.
And to go and fetch them. And it was either to go to the doctor or to get looked at or to get whatever they needed to get done. And so we would have to find them under hundreds and hundreds of cows. We'd have to find 5 numbers. Right? And so he'd get some and I'd get some, and we'd go and we'd look. And these animals were not hugely intelligent. But they knew how to run away. So we'd find them. We'd find the number, and we'd go and we'd try to get them. And either they just wouldn't budge, period, the end, or they'd run away, and you'd have to run after them, in the slop and the everything.
Prepares you for parenthood.
So true. So true. So, you've brushed your teeth 5 million times. Why don't you know how to do this by yourself?
Right.
Same thing.
Yes.
You know how to get to the milking. Like, let's go. You should know the path already. So true. Never thought of it that way. But anyway, so we worked with the cows for three months. Lots of fun. Great, great experiences.
I'm impressed with the fortitude it took to stick with that.
It wasn't something I ever imagined myself doing, but
Right.
Why not? Like, let's have the experience, because every new experience that you have just broadens you, and I think that let me say this a little better. I feel like every new experience that I've ever had has made me the person that I am today. And without that, without the moving around all over the country, without the having the experiences with the cows, without the being willing to try new foods and have the Shehechianu experiences, that is really literally what I look for in life. It's my favorite prayer. Yeah. And I look for as many times as I can say it a day, a week, lifetime, to appreciate what's around you and the opportunities you have. And I'm truly thankful for all of it. And I wish that everybody, did you ever see the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
No, I haven't. I know the premise, though.
So, yeah. So the premise is, just say yes to everything and see where it gets you. Yeah. Well, it's hard to say yes to everything, but I think that if you can be open-minded to the experiences that come at you in life, that you'll learn a lot about the things that you love, the things that maybe you don't love. But like I say to my kids, if you don't try it,
how do you know?
You won't know.
That's right.
You won't know. And whenever they say, I can't, I always say, if you say that you can't, then you definitely won't be able to. But if you say that you will try, then the whole world opens up to you. So that's how I live my life, and I hope my students and my community will get that from me, and that we'll be able to grow and learn and be better together.
Well, excellent. Well, on that note, last two questions that we always end with.
Yep.
What is your favorite Jewish food?
My favorite Jewish food probably would have to be shawarma. I love shawarma.
Okay.
It's between that, chicken soup with knedlach, of course. Matzo balls are very important to our existence. And holiday food, probably, I love apples and honey. I just love it. And I never eat it at any other time of the year. It just feels wrong.
Yeah.
But I really, truly do love that experience. Yeah.
And what is your favorite Jewish holiday?
Favorite Jewish holiday, I think, is, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be cliche, but I think that maybe I could answer it in a different way.
Okay.
My favorite Jewish moments, probably.
Okay.
If you don't mind me changing the question just a little
I gotta tell
bit.
you, I have no problem with people rejecting the premise of the questions I ask. Rejecting the premise of that one, however, is not what I saw coming. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it, but go ahead.
Well, okay, I'll tell you why. Fine, I'll tell you why. Because every holiday, when you're clergy, comes with stress.
Sure.
Right? So, I love things about the holiday, but so much of it has been wrapped in how do we prepare this for other people to enjoy? How do we wrap this for other people to, experience?
Sure.
That I haven't necessarily, actually, in the past few years, especially with COVID, been able to truly enjoy a lot of the holidays to the extent that I would like to.
Sure.
So I think that's, for me, it's a tough question because, again, love certain things about it.
Yeah.
Right? And I especially love things that I'm able to help bring to other people. Because that's my job as clergy.
Yes.
But I would say probably that moments for me that I appreciate are Havdalah, Tashlich, Slichot. I appreciate the middle days of Pesach and Sukkot and the ones that I can spend with my family. I appreciate Shavuot, which is probably the most ignored holiday of the entire year, which is such a shame.
Yeah.
But I love a really good Tikkun Leil Shavuot, like staying up all night and really mamash staying up all night and studying. So that's been some of my best memories, especially in Israel. I love things about Purim, but definitely not my favorite.
Okay.
So, yeah, holidays as a whole, I think it's a tougher question for me because there's so much that I do love.
Right.
So much that I am not personally, don't feel like I can delve into as much as I'd like to. But overall, I love the entire Jewish calendar.
Well, Cantor Wendi Fried, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciated it, and welcome to the community. And enjoy the settling in process, and best of luck with this new role going forward.
You have been part of this welcoming committee, and I really appreciate it. And it's been in hearing your other interviews and doing some of the research so I was ready. I love the way that you are, your questions are thoughtful, and you really put time into your interviews to give us each a personality and to introduce us in the most meaningful way to the community, and it's appreciated. You should know that.
You're incredibly kind. Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Of course.
The Who the Folk podcast is part of the Jew Folk Podcast Network, a product of Jew Folk Inc. Please subscribe, rate, and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. If you have suggestions for other podcast guests, please email them to me at editor@tcjewfolk.com. For our other shows, check out tcjewfolk.com/podcast.